Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm feeling fantastic.
I'm so happy to have you here today with me, and I'm looking forward to our interview.
Wonderful.
So I know this is about know thyself.
Great.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
But first, I want people to know a little bit about Michael. Who is the real Michael? What do you do?
The real Michael, well, he's a naturopath. He's a wellness coach, a humanitarian, a philanthropist, and I care about humans. And that's, me being in the health wellness industry for the best part of 35 years. And that's my passion. It's my passion, looking after human health.
Fantastic. Yes. So, Michael, I want to start off with asking a question. Who are we?
That's a very loaded question.
I know.
And you could ask the average person in the street and get a very mixed view on that based on perception. So from my perspective, who we are infinite consciousness. Mm-hmm. We're multidimensional beings. We're endowed with awareness, and we have really profound faculties that really is dominant with our being, and a lot of humans are not tapping into that.
Right, so you see that on a everyday basis?
Yeah.
There's a fundamental thing that we need to actually get in touch with.
Yes.
And know ourselves.
Ourselves, yes.
Okay. So, can you tell us a little bit about your story?
Yes.
A little bit about how you came about to be working in this industry,
yes.
How your passion came
yes.
about.
Well, as a young boy, I used to watching my father and my mother suffer with chronic ailments. My father had chronic diabetes type 2, and my mother had rheumatoid arthritis. Subsequently, my father passed away at the age of when I was 12. I witnessed conventional medicine at its best, looking after my father, and also watching my mother having biopsies and blood tests and in and out of hospitals and lots of medication. And I realized, one day after rubbing my mother's feet, doing some sort of reflexology with my mother as a young man, and both of us were in tears as I watched my mother suffer with all these side effects. I realized that there must be another way. I said to my mother as I rubbed her feet, there must be another way, and that was, you could say, the precursor that kickstarted me and my passion for understanding human health and well-being at the highest level.
Wow, that's a very emotional story.
Yes, it really was.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I do believe you have a wellness academy.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it's a dream come true. It's a bit like the film In the Pursuit of Happiness by Will Smith. That is a true story. I felt like my life is equivalent to that, going through the ups and downs of life like most people. But it was a dream etched in the fact that there should be a place where people can go and understand how to look after the human body, because the human body is highly complex.
Absolutely. Because
if you ask a brain surgeon, he'll tell you how complex it is. If you ask a heart surgeon, he'll tell you. And even a nurse will tell you how complex the human body is. So we take a very multidisciplinary approach to looking after human health, from screening. So we do medical screening there. We do hair analysis, blood analysis there. We do various different cleanses and detoxification, and help people to understand about self-care.
I think that is amazing.
Yeah.
I applaud you for actually doing that.
Thank you.
Tell me, Michael. Tell
Yes.
me. There's this phrase that I hear many times,
Yes.
and you say that quite often. And the phrase is, we do not know
Yes.
what we do not know.
Absolutely.
Now, that's a deep, deep phrase.
Yes, it is.
Statement.
I think it affects
Can you explain what it actually means?
Sherron, I think it affects everybody. We don't know what we don't know. We do not know what we do not know. Because, if we draw a simple circle, and within that circle was all of everything that we've learned in this lifetime. Everything, all cognitive beliefs and belief systems are within that circle. what about the bigger circumference outside that circle? So there is so much we don't know. And that's why I feel one of the many reasons that humans fall down, because they're not willing to look, go beyond the sort of the societal norms, so to speak.
Okay. Now, Mike, I know you have a wealth of knowledge on many, many levels. And
Yes.
I'm always telling you that you need to write a book. And finally, you started a book.
Yes, I have.
Do you want to tell us a little about your book?
Yes, I will tell you about this book. It seems forever. But yeah, I'm making good headways on the book now about Know Thyself. And it is all what we're talking about. We are multidimensional beings. We do have an aura. We do have, what we call the mortal self and the sort of immortal self. The tangible and intangible, and the visible and the invisible aspect of our being. And unless we can sort of consolidate with that and know that there are these two aspects of our being, the invisible, visible, then we can then play this game of life,
Well, Michael, I cannot wait for that book to come out. So
you get the first copy.
Please make sure you write, you finish your book.
Okay.
And I'm sure lots of people will be waiting to
Yes.
purchase that book.
Yes.
So let's go back a little bit to health, because that's a really big part of what you do.
Yes.
So why are so many humans falling down with their life, their health even? Yes.
Well, do you know what? I sat down and really contemplate this question, because I realize that it's humans right across the planet. And I think one of the main aspect why humans falling down is spiritual malnourishment. If you don't realize you've got a soul or spirit or an essence, and you're not feeding it daily, you are going to be malnourished. You're looking outside yourself as opposed to looking within yourself. So being spiritually malnourished. What about stress? Stress is on such an epidemic level, on every level. And we don't appreciate how the body is affected by these daily stresses. So, cortisol levels are running very high, and adrenal fatigue is everywhere. It's just prevalent. And then we got the deficiency, people not eating the right food in the right combination, and not enough because they're so busy. So we've got deficiency as well as toxicity.
Absolutely.
And then we got all the electromagnetic pollution. So it's all that combination, it's causing the demise of humans, because they're not realizing, there are these aspects they need to look into.
And would you agree that the brain is something that you need to actually be aware of?
Oh my,
all of this.
What a big topic. I mean, that's something that I know that you like to look into, and we'll talk about in one of your presentation. But the brain is huge. It's a big story. Nobody ever talks about the brain and the complexity of the brain. And I think that's the problem. We look outside ourselves and not realizing that we do have the neocortex and how that helps us to navigate our mind. What about the limbic system in the body? We don't realize the emotional side of our being and how that affects our side. We don't realize about the reptilian brain. And, we humans have, psychologists tell us, we have over 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. 75% of those thoughts are negative, and 90% of those thoughts are yesterday's thoughts. So unless we understand the simplicity of our being and our basic understanding of our inner workings, I think we're going to get a bit muddled and confused.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about environmental factors, and have we really been hoodwinked by society?
Yes, I think so. In a nutshell, yes. Because, you go to school and you learn the times table 1 till 12. Nobody said to me 1 times 13, 1 times 14. Well, and we've got to realize there's a bigger picture than what we perceive there is. I mean, take for example, if you go to you're looking at someone who lose their life, and you go to the East and how they understand afterlife. And we in the West will dress in black and just pray and cry. So there's this disparity of understanding who we humans really are. Yeah, and I think when we travel and we do look at different cultures, it then expands our consciousness and knowing ourselves a bit more.
I mean, I'm a very sort of solution-focused person. So
yes.
Can you tell me, how can we navigate navigate ourselves
Yes.
back to, taking back our personal power?
Yeah. Good. First and foremost is awareness. Getting to know that you have this invisible aspect to your being, and taking your full responsibility for yourself. Don't blame. Forget the blame, the criticism, the judgment. Say, I take full responsibility of myself. And then look at a SWOT analysis. Start looking at what your strengths are, your weaknesses are, your opportunities and your threats, and do that monthly. And then doing that self-inquisition, that self-introspection will actually give you a real insight into who you are, and understanding, your negative chat and self-talk, and how that can be detrimental to your well-being.
I'm very much a believer in the unseen world.
Yes.
Everything happens on a spiritual level. So
Absolutely.
do you want to tell us a little bit about universal power?
Yes.
How does that affect us?
It affects us on a mega level, because we talked about that circle, and there's a lot we don't know outside the circle. Well, we're talking about universal laws such as we are one. We're all one. We're all interconnected. We talk about the law of mentalism, that the way we're thinking, how it's affecting our reality. Because that's the way we create our reality. Also, what about the law of attraction? We've been talked about by many teachers, so if we don't understand these sacred laws, sacred spiritual universal principle that govern our life, then we're like going around in the middle of the night trying to find the light,
Right.
Yeah.
You sound to me like you have a formula.
Yeah.
So, because we are actually told what to think and what not to think.
Yes.
So how do we navigate that?
Yeah, I think we're going to look at this formula, a formula which I've learned from the many teachers I've learned over the years, is who do we listen to? Who are we listening to? And we can't just let anybody walk through our mind with dirty shoes on anymore, can we? So we got to listen to people who are really we resonate with, people that we feel intuitively that they're, they're on the same wavelength. And then, we must be teachable. If we're not teachable, then teachable and coachable. If we're not teachable and coachable, then we're going around in circle. We must be open to new level of knowledge. So to be teachable, to be coachable, and, understanding, our thought processes. The training balance scale, is it more thoughts or more action? Should we work on our psychology more, which I think we should do? And then we'll talk about the 4 ways of learning, unconscious, incompetent, conscious, incompetent, conscious, competent, and unconscious, competent.
Wow, that's a mouthful. Wow. Yes. So, okay, lots of people listen to you, Mike. You have a lot of wisdom to share.
I'm very
your experience.
deeply humbled by that.
What are some of the attributes? Because you may have touched on that already, but if you could sort of pick out 3 key things, what are the attributes that we can tap into or train?
Yes. Okay. So there's 3 attributes we can tap into. Is to tap into spending solitude time on our own, to work on our own psychology. So I would say meditation is a great way to helping one to ground themselves and to really sort of dig deep into the inner wisdom that resides inside of them. Secondly, I would look at our self-talk, the way we do our self-talking to ourselves, because we're constantly talking to ourselves all the time.
And also limiting beliefs, isn't it? That's what's holding a lot of people back.
Yes. Limited belief, false belief, limited perception. These are things that are really holding people back in a big way.
Okay, so tell us about your thoughts and your feelings. Do you want to share what your thoughts are in general? Tell us about your thoughts and feelings about life. I think to feel good, feeling good is underestimated. Knowing that
this is a game of life. Well,
Game of life. So it's a game.
It is a game.
Yeah.
It is a game. Those at the highest level understand this game. And those on the lower aspect of life, what I mean by that is the physical realm and dealing with everyday chores will always be, complaining, condemning, judging. But those who know the higher level of this game, they have very philosophical, and they navigate their way through this life very easily,
Okay, just speaking to an individual, one person who's trying to find themselves, their journey, where can an individual start?
Right. I call it 3 tripods. First and foremost, getting to the aspect of self-development. A lot of people around the planet are doing that. Some are not understanding that, but the power of self-development is very important. It's imperative for those who want to reach outside their comfort zone and to reach a higher level of being, to firstly start reading books. Read books, right across the field on all aspects of life. And then, listen to podcasts and, various videos, and go to live events. That tripod there will actually help to develop you and bring you with like-minded individuals who will lift your level of consciousness.
Okay, thank you. We live in the information age or era. How is that affecting the human psyche?
Good question. In a nutshell, people are getting confused. They're getting so confused. There's a website called confused.com, and confused because of conflicting information and not able to make a choice. If you're doing the 3 tripod we talked about, you can then start to discern what is right from wrong. What is truth and what is falsehood. And because you'll understand that we are vibrational being living in a vibrational universe.
So then, why are so many individuals not grasping this information?
Yeah. Well, we could say brainwashing. They've sort of got what we call black negative energy, so to speak. They're not reaching out to a higher level of consciousness of their higher self, and seem to be going round in circle unless they can break the shackle of being self and understanding there's higher self. Then we can come back into a higher level of existence.
Wow, Michael, thank you for sharing so much content, so much information. I'm overwhelmed right now with knowledge. I'm learning a lot from you. I wanted to ask you a final question, really. What are the 10 points of change as you see it?
Right, 10 points of change. Well, in a nutshell, for 10 changes for an individual, I'd say first and foremost, learn to pray. People think prayer is a religious thing, but a prayer of gratitude to honor your life of yourself, your family, your friends, the animal kingdom, Mother Earth. Get into gratitude. Know that there's grace that really does exist on this planet. Go into grace and understand that kindness is a powerful force to aspire to. Get into meditation, we mentioned before, but we can't say it enough. To sit on your own sanctuary, your own solitude. They say in silence, you'll have all the answers. Get into doing good for others. Do good for others, and knowing that it's a universal principle. When you do good for others, good will always come back to you. Have clarity in your life. There must be some clarity of where you're going.